So our next question from GATE 2018 for thermodynamics. The question is, we have given a question. Consider the following properties: temperature, specific gravity, chemical potential, and volume. The option which lists all the intensive properties is, we need to find out the intensive properties, right? Now first we take a look on first we see what is the intensive properties. Types of properties, we have two types of properties, that is intensive properties and extensive properties. First, what is intensive properties? Which is independent of mass or amount, which is independent of mass or amount is called intensive property. Example, in this example here, temperature is an intensive property. Next, specific gravity. What is the specific gravity? This is the ratio of density of the given liquid to the density of the water. This is the specific gravity. It is also independent of the mass, right? Next, chemical potential. Chemical potential is also independent of mass, so it is also a intensive property since it is the ratio of Gibbs energy per unit mole, right? Since if you take 2 moles, then Gibbs energy also increase, then ratio will be fixed, G by N ratio will be fixed, so chemical potential will be fixed for a particular species. I denotes here is the species, so chemical potential is a intensive property. So from this you can say the question so temperature, specific gravity, and chemical potential are the intensive properties. So option P, Q, R means option C is correct here, but I want to share some more things about these properties, right, so that you never be confused about this, right? We know this. Now pressure is also a intensive property, remember this always, right? Since it is not depend on the amount of gas, right? It is an intensive property. Pressure. Density rho, that is a m by v, mass upon volume. Density is also an intensive property. It is also independent of mass. How it can be? If mass increase, then volume also increase, then the ratio of any substance, like if we have a liquid water, then if we increase the mass, then volume of the water also increase, then the density, but density is fixed, density will be fixed since the ratio will be fixed. This is the reason why the density of the water is generally, we say, roughly 1000 kg per meter cube at 4 degree centigrade. So density is also an intensive property. Next, specific volume. Whenever we say a specific term, that means per unit mass. So V is equal to V upon M, that is a specific volume per unit mass. Next we have specific internal energy. Whenever we say specific term, that means it is per unit kg. I have already told you, U is equal to U upon M. U is the internal energy, M is the mass, so U is small u is the specific internal energy. It is also an intensive property, right? And this specific volume is also intensive property. Next, specific enthalpy. It is also independent of the mass, since if we take larger amount, then enthalpy is also higher, that means the ratio will be fixed, so specific enthalpy is also a intensive property. Whenever there is an any ratio, generally they are the intensive property. And remember one more thing, whenever we divide extensive property upon extensive property, whenever we divide extensive property with extensive property, the answer will be intensive. Molar volume. Whenever we say molar volume, that means species volume per unit mole. It is also intensive property. It is also independent of the amount. Since if we take 2 mole, then volume will be higher. If we take 1 mole, volume will be lesser. Then ratio will be fixed. So molar volume of water, you can say, I can say the molar volume of water is 18 centimeter cube per mole. You can see in a literature, it is fixed. Molar enthalpy means per unit mole. H is equal to H upon N, right? Similarly for molar internal energy, that is U is equal to U by N. Next, what is the extensive property which depend on mass or amount? Here, volume is the extensive property. Only volume. Only mass is also a extensive property. Enthalpy is extensive property. Internal energy is extensive property. Gibbs energy also is extensive property, right? So you have learned one thing: whenever these properties are divided by mass or mole, then they converted into intensive property, but actually these are the extensive properties. So thank you so much. Please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.